Welcome to Stargate SG-1 for the first time. Still not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I'm watching Stargate SG-1 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm watching Stargate SG-1 for the 47th time. But for the first time, I am looking for what Stargate is trying to teach us. You know, those lessons that sci-fi does so well, where they hold up a mirror to society, they give us hope that things can be better in the future, or just tell us how to be better human beings to one another.
Maybe we'll get some of that as we watch the 18th episode. Brent, we're heading down the home stretch of season 3 right now.
Already. Oof.
We're watching Shades of Grey this week. You gave me the hint that this one is going to have a returning character in it. And so I really had no idea what this was going to be about. So my prediction literally is this will be the return of the Broca Divide people, like Tupelo and the Minoan people, and there'll be something Shades of Greyish that they do.
I don't remember the exact word that I used last time, but I definitely said that this would feature a return that you're not expecting.
Something like that.
This will feature a return that you're not expecting.
And I'm certainly not expecting to see Tupelo, so that's
well,
my guess. That's my guess.
Now you are. So, yeah, as you mentioned, this is the 18th episode of Season 3, Shades of Grey. Original air date, February 11th, year 2000.
In the year 2000.
Well, what we know is SG-1 survived Y2K. We're all grateful for that, and here we go. This episode is written by Jonathan Glasner, directed by Martin Wood.
Oh, wow.
Couple notes on this, specifically with Jonathan Glasner. This is the final episode of SG-1 that he will pen. Now, Jonathan Glasner is notable because he is
executive producer,
co-creator of the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With Brad Wright. So he's been around.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal.
He's a guy. Yeah. Actually, turns out here at the end of the season, he is going to step back from his role as executive producer. Of course, he'll always be co-creator, but he will step back from his role as executive producer. He's going to go on and start working on another show called Invisible Man.
I don't remember Invisible Man.
No, because it completely failed and didn't do anything. So, as the guy said at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, he chose poorly. Of course, Glasner, as most people do when they're at this level, he will continue on as a creative consultant or executive consultant for the entire run of SG-1, which I think just basically means we can call you up when we need an idea, but for the most part, he's just sort of out of it. But this will be his final episode, one that he has written. This episode is also directed by Martin Wood. We'll keep an eye out. So if you remember about Martin Wood, I gave you something fun that he likes to do in his episodes, which is...
He likes to show up, have a cameo.
No, that's well, he does like to show up and have a cameo. Peter DeLuise is like that too, but he does something different with his cameos. He has a big wrench.
Oh, that's right.
A big, huge honking wrench. Usually he's with Sergeant Seiler, who is the maintenance guy there.
Stunt coordinator.
And the stunt coordinator for the show. I don't know where we're getting close to where that starts.
Okay.
So we'll keep an eye out. I'm not sure if it's this episode or maybe the next, but we're really, really close to Martin Wood to start to use these things where it's going to become a fun thing to check in and see if we can't find. So we'll keep an eye out for that. By the way, I don't think I've ever mentioned he actually has dubbed that as a character.
Big wrench guy?
The big wrench guy.
Really?
That character's name is, because it's a military installation, his name is Major Wood. Yeah. Yep.
Well done.
Yep.
Well done.
Yes. Well, with that, Jeff, it is time for us to go watch this episode. Hey, listen, if you guys are out there joining us for the very first time, first of all, welcome. You're amazing. We love you. You're awesome. We love everybody that comes and joins us here at Stargate SG-1 for the first time here at the By Nerds Network. Are we a network, Jeff?
Sure. A network of two.
Whatever. The umbrella of stuff that we got going on here. The way this works is Jeff and I are going to go watch this episode right now. We have not watched this episode prior and came in with a bunch of notes ready to go. Nope, we're going to do it right now. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, hang out because you're going to catch the reaction. Jeff and I are going to watch it. You'll see the reaction to this episode. Hey, listen, if you want to get the full unedited version of that reaction, head over to patreon.com where you can find that. Plus all the other stuff that Jeff and I have going on. There's a lot happening over there, but you can do that at patreon.com/ByNerds.
If you're listening on a podcasting app, you're about to join us on the other side of the episode. I'm going to share my first-time reaction. Brent will go over the sci-fi messages that he found. So, Brent, let's go ahead and turn some lights on these shades of gray.
Chevron 7 locked.
All right, Jeff. Well, you and I have just watched Shades of Grey. What a roller coaster. This was a particularly fun one for me, who knew exactly where this episode was going the entire time. This episode, by the way, as you might imagine, has a really high rewatch value. Once you know what's going on, you go back and see it through the entire thread of the entire show. You were guessing the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You did. I don't know at what point you actually figured out what was happening, if it was kept all the way to the end or if you had it, but you had lots of guesses throughout the course of that. I want to encourage, if you're just listening to the audio version of this, head over to our YouTube page and check out the reaction to this, because that was a good one with Jeff. Jeff, take us through your first watch of Shades of Grey.
Well, I want to start by doing my best Hammond impression, which will not be good because I don't do impressions well, but I'd like to thank the Academy for this nomination and this so starting at the end, they walk through the Stargate, right? All the SGR, I'll call them, the Stargate Rogue. They walk through and they're getting arrested and they're in the SGC. And immediately I was just like, oh God, it was all a setup. This is dumb. I'm disappointed. And actually, it's pretty brilliant. And this was a great way of solving a problem that they knew was there and couldn't really articulate. Like, I went in that moment, like I had so many emotions that happened. But in my head the whole time, I was just like, is this a thing Jack did on his own? Because there's no way Hammond was legit pissed. Like, he was angry.
Yeah.
And he can't even pronounce Gould. So it's like Gould. I can't do the accent. I can't do it. But it's just like he was legit mad. So is this a thing he wanted to go and no, my God, Hammond's in on it. The Tolan were in on it. Like, all these people were in on it. And it's like kind of awesome. Like, really cool. I had, like you said, I had so many theories, but from go, I'm like, this isn't Jack. This doesn't make sense. This is a 0 to 60 moment where, yeah, he's frustrated. Everybody's frustrated that they're having to go the slow way and they're getting told no all the time. To go from that to yelling at General Hammond, yelling at the Tolan ambassador lady, like, wow, it didn't check out for me. And I had a hard time. What did I say? I said at one point there's like, it's one of two things or something, like either someone else has control of him, like mind control or clone control, or he's working for somebody else.
Well, so I gave you option 3 because you said it's either there's an alien or he's working for somebody else. And my option 3 was he really feels this way.
Mm-hmm.
Or option 4.
Yeah, which is what it kind of turned out, which is
it's all a setup. Actually, I'll give you what I wrote down here as actually option 4 was option 4 is Jonathan Glasner, before writing this episode, just watched the Star Trek Voyager episode Investigations, where Tom Paris left the ship in order to suss out the mole and pretended to be really pissy at everybody.
Good call.
Because it's the same plot.
This is like the 3rd or 4th episode in a row that's a direct lift from Voyager or TNG.
I ain't gonna lie, next week's is as well. It is as well.
The stuff works, you know, you go with it.
Listen, here's the thing, and we're going to catch a lot of flack because we always compare stuff to Star Trek. Look, it's not that everybody's doing stuff like Star Trek. This is how sci-fi is done. We've watched enough sci-fi. This is what happens in sci-fi as a genre. We can pick it out because it's just how it goes, you know.
For us, it happens to be Star Trek that we line it up to, but this episode's in a bunch of other franchises as well. And other little clues, like you said, this is going to has a great rewatch value because there's a handful of things that I wrote down as like, this doesn't make sense. One of them was Mayborn starts telling them kind of at a really high level what they're doing. Hey, I think it's ridiculous that we have to do this also. Jack says, well, whatever you're doing, it's got to be really illegal. Like, he's concerned. Isn't the thing you just did also you're literally calling him out for the thing that you did. That doesn't line up. Well, of course it doesn't, because he wasn't really in it. I was heartbroken. I was so sad. My heart that is 3 sizes too small apparently broke and shattered a little bit when he's like, I want to retire on Adora. I want to go see Lara. I've got, and it's like, I was like, what a great callback. And I literally thought, because Mayborn is all, you're either in or you're going to disappear once I share this. And he's like, well, I'm in. And so I'm like, oh, he's not in. He wants to go to Adora with his love, because he wants to be with her, also to run away from Mayborn, just to get away and do. How great is, oh no. If for whatever reason Richard Dean Anderson was leaving the show, that's the way to do it.
That is what JMS would call is the trapdoor.
Exactly.
That would be his trapdoor to be able to go out
and still come back for guest spots if ever needed or wanted. Because
that relationship was so good and so pure.
It's great they called it back, though. I mean, it's there's hope, right? It's like there's hope.
They're at least not pretending like that episode never happened.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that is my fear in this episode, because what Jack had to do to make this right, he had to big time Sam. Like, he wasn't mean to her, but he was way out of character and harsh. He did hurt her. He was straight up mean to Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, he all but told Daniel, I don't like you, I never liked you, and I don't care. Like, oof, that is hard.
But what do you make with that whole last scene where the music started getting all, whimsical again? And
that's where I'm like, it's the end of Star Trek again, where you got Spock, McCoy, and Kirk.
That's the original series end of Star Trek. Yeah.
Every episode, it gets all heavy, and then, a little light music and a joke to go off. I don't want that for this. I want there to be a rift, at least between Daniel and Jack. Daniel has to be hurt by this. And it doesn't need to be an ongoing, like, will they, won't they, blah, blah, blah thing. But, like, they need to work through this somehow. As we're making all of our callbacks, let's not stop. This can't be Sheridan and Garibaldi, where just all of a sudden they're fine. Like, there's a lot of repair work to be done. I think, I love, though, that, like, now, because we got, and I was trying to recall it during the episode, I still can't, but there was the episode where this group got introduced, right? And so they had the other Stargate that was down in the ice cubes from Solitudes where we found it. So I can remember that episode, but I can't remember this other one. But they had that Stargate. They moved to the airbase in Utah. There was the shootout. They belly flopped into the Stargate and all that. And like, oh gosh, there's this whole other group. They're back, right? And Mayborn running the crew. They're out literally doing stuff. Falling apart, though, now the Asgard kind of took all their stuff again. They're on the list of, like, people to not mess with, I feel like the Asgard are at the top.
They're kind of up there, yeah.
Not a good choice whatsoever. And it's interesting, too, we talked a little bit during the episode, Mayborn's crew follow a military structure. They have rank. They, have sort of uniforms or whatever, but they generally, like, dressed like pirates. The one, Starbuck, who was in there, could have been Sam Carter. Like, Carter beat her out for the job. So it's like there's definitely this military component. Also, are they military? Like, he never reinstated Jack, but they were still calling him Colonel. And I don't know, probably doesn't matter in any way. It's just I was very curious about, like, how's this thing even set up?
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Do we find out later? Kinda.
You might have already found out. I don't know if they've said the word yet. Like, there's a name for this organization.
Okay, yeah, no.
I don't know if this is a real life organization that we have in the real world, or if this is completely made up for the show. This is just my lack of military knowledge. But the organization that Mayborn is in command of, or that he works for, is something called the NID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And basically they are an oversight committee. I think they're supposed to be a civilian oversight committee over all these top secret programs. They're not supposed to interfere with how the programs work, but they're an oversight. Mayborn kind of leads like a rogue element of the NID, which is how they know everything that's happening, and they're kind of trying to take over a little bit more. But that's technically they're under the NID. And in Stargate, Mayborn works at the NID.
Prepare for incoming gold channel communication.
Before we gate into the rest of this episode, did you know you're missing most of the content from this podcast? Stargate SG-1 for the first time has an active and exciting Patreon that you can join right now by clicking the link in the show notes. Not only will you get access to the full, unedited podcast and reaction videos, you'll also be able to join a growing, vibrant, maybe even an intergalactic community. Subscribers even get access to all of our content from Babylon 5 for the first time. Don't miss out on this content and the amazing people. Just click the link in the show notes. Tilk thinks you should do it right now.
Indeed.
And we've had a couple of the NID's had a couple of people show up who are like the Mayborn's just the one that has stuck around the longest. So essentially there are people that work for the NID, but like this is their extracurricular, or Mayborn says they're assigned to this. They work in the yeoman shack doing whatever. Actually, they're on PX358 going and stealing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is like what's up on the 36th floor at the NID. Nobody asks.
There it is. Section 36.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If it gives you any hope, though, about the whole, again, to go back to the Lyra thing, how many episodes was it between Solitudes when we first found out about the second gate and when you saw this team using that and jumping through it?
That's a big jump.
How many episodes has it been since we last saw them jump through the episode, and now they turn up again here in this episode?
Yeah, we got Lyra last week.
No. When we last saw these guys jumping into the Stargate, belly flopping into the Stargate.
Oh,
how many episodes from then to this one where those people turn back up in the show?
That was a lot.
So, if we don't get Lyra next week or in 2 more weeks or even for the rest of the season, there is always hope that it could come back around.
Yeah, there's stuff that's waited a season and a half.
This is Stargate. This is what I love about Stargate.
It's all still on the board.
When did you expect to see the Tolans again? How long between we'd seen them?
Yeah, they just coming right back.
When was the last time we actually saw the Asgard? Like, they don't just forget what happened.
They put all the pieces down. They stay on the board. They may never move again, but they stay there the whole time.
It's really the perfect hybrid between serialized shows and episodic shows.
It really is.
Clearly, Stargate is an episodic series, but what happens from week to week matters and affects, or at least potentially affects, future episodes.
Yeah, it's there. It's a possibility. Like I said, it's on the board. And speaking of boards, we need to update our tracking board.
Yes, let's do that.
We got an Indeed.
Yes, we can definitely add that to the list.
That's a really good one. I think it might actually be the one that I use in our Patreon ad for the audio.
You think so?
I think it might be the same Indeed.
They all kind of sound the same.
Because he is good. He's kind of a pro.
Okay, this is absolutely impossible, Jeff. We have missed something. According to our tracking sheet, this is only the 3rd time Tilk has said Indeed. That is impossible.
Let's go back and watch all the other episodes again just to see. I'm down. Most of them.
I do know that, and I'm very well aware that Tilk's Indeeds, they do start ramping up. They're not. It hasn't quite become the catchphrase yet, but he's had to have said it more than.
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like we've talked about him saying it more. Maybe we just didn't put it in the. See, now I feel like I got to go back and count all these things again. Because we're only at 19 for crying out louds.
Yeah, which is a lot. Also, it's not.
Right. We have 6 Daniel deaths, though. That seems like a lot. We have 3 Sam boyfriends.
Because this is like episode 60. This is episode 60 of the series.
Already on 60.
Yeah, so it's like 1 every 10 episodes for the Daniel deaths. That's pretty wild.
He dies at least twice a season, Jeff.
Well, speaking of dying, I am dying to find out what sci-fi messages you pulled out of this one.
Oof.
What do you got?
Oh, Jeff. Okay, first of all, anytime we can take an episode and go, this was that episode of Star Trek, which is a series which is known for intentionally doing its whole messages thing, good chance we're going to pull a message out of it. I asked you a question earlier in the show. Does Jack have a point? If we need the tech to protect us from an existential threat, and those guys over there have that, and they're holding out on us for something that not just could, but would provide us with real protection, do we not have the God-given right of self-preservation to do what it takes to protect ourselves?
You're keeping one big qualifier out, though, that you asked. Ethics notwithstanding. Because if you take ethics out of the situation, yeah, every person for themselves. Like, just get what you want. It's anarchy. Strongest survives. Take it all. But is that how humanity lives? Also, I disagree it's an existential threat, because we do have the protection of the Protected Worlds Treaty with the Asgard, which isn't a guarantee, but it's definitely something.
Okay. So that then becomes probably the question of debate. Now, I will tell you, in this idea, my mind goes to things in real world history like, manifest destiny.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, that's going to be ours over there. We actually are the dominant creature. So you people get out of this land that we're just going to decide we're taking now. Sorry, pack up your shit and go. We're taking it now. Like, not cool, guys.
No,
not a proud moment in my own country's history.
It has not turned out well for a lot of people.
You know, and I'm not here to litigate it. I'm not here to provide answers or anything like that. I'm just calling it out for what it is. And it was rather a disgusting moment when we're like, yeah, we need it, and we're just going to take it, and we don't care what you say. Like, this is bad. This is something that has happened in history.
A lot.
I don't know world history of individual regions enough to know when this has happened throughout history in other countries, although I'm sure it has happened repletely through other countries. And I'm talking more than just, hey, we're going to go to war and we're going to take your land. I'm talking just a full-on.
Well, a perfect example. I'm out here in Oregon. A bunch of the settlements that happened here and what led to the Oregon Trail was the government was like, hey, for free, you can have this huge chunk of land. You just have to come out and clear all the indigenous people out of it. And however you do that's up to you, but they need to be cleared out, and then you can keep the land. That was a thing that happened a lot.
And but we're just going to, like, even despite our agreements that you can stay there and we'll stay here, we're going to break that just because we now want the land. What do we call it? The phrase, eminent domain.
Yeah.
Where they could just come by and like take your house because we got to build a road here now. Sorry. But I also think of episodes even within Stargate, like Spirits. Remember they found the trinium, that new metal?
Yep.
I'm like, well, how are we going to, well, they're not going to give it to us. Okay, well, listen, they're migrating people. We'll wait till they go over there during the winter and we'll just come in and take it while they're gone. You don't have the right to do that. It's not yours. These are the kinds of things where those times when we violate our principles and our morals that we say that we hold to, these ethics, even for something, Jeff, as basic as self-preservation, this is where we lose ourselves. Honestly, and I'd say at that point, you don't have the right to preserve yourself.
Wow.
If you're going to lose that. That's a pretty harsh statement. But this is, God, Jeff, we are way over on our Star Trek quota for this episode.
Oh, and our Babylon 5 quota. I'm
gonna keep this going. This is the Corbinite maneuver. When Captain Kirk says, we now have and in that specific thing, just to catch people up, their ship has been rocked by another ship. Right? Like, absolutely talking about an existential threat. They have rocked the Enterprise. Something happens where the other ship is disabled and bad stuff's about to happen over there. The Enterprise has a chance. Their mission is to seek out and find new alien life. Well, that's right over there. And Captain Kirk says to the bridge, this is a chance to demonstrate what our high-sounding words mean.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In this story, now this doesn't necessarily always work out in life. In this story, it's actually by sticking to those high-sounding words, following those morals and those ethics, that we ultimately acquire those things. Because what does Jack say? We don't need their stuff, we need them. By sticking to this, we show them that they can trust us, and then we can depend on them, and we're going to be fine. This is how we are going to protect ourselves, is by not losing ourselves. Because if you lose yourself, then maybe you're really not worth protecting.
We saw that with Jack in 100 Days when, hey, he's lost. We don't know what's going on. The Tolan were like, we'll help. We got you. It's going to take us some time, but we got you.
Because we literally have to fly across space and don't have slipstream drive technology yet. Anyway, here's the thing, Jeff. I can hear detractors out there. I can hear the keyboard clackers out there who are going to say the same thing that Jack said. And you're perfectly within your right to have this opinion. I'd rather be a thief and alive than dead with a clear conscience. Honestly, though, I'm not that way.
Agreed.
And I disagree with you. If we go out, but we've stuck to who we are, then we go out. It happens.
Head held high.
We did everything we could, and we stayed true to who we are. If that's what happens, then that's what happens. But I don't think it will. I think the lady from the Tolan was right, and I think she proved this. The truth is, if you go through and you acquire that technology, even for self-preservation, Jeff, we, humanity, will eventually use it for more than just self-preservation. We're going to use it for domination.
We saw that immediately.
Instantly in the episode. In full force. Hey, can you imagine all the cool stuff we could do with this Black Ops back on Earth? Heck yeah, we can. Oh, we're just, as she said it, what are you going to use this for? I don't know. Well, just in case the Gould come. And how long before you turn that on that country over there and that country over there? I think there's another side to this, though, Jeff.
Yeah.
And it's Jack's side. And something you may not realize through the course of this, but I need you to go back a couple weeks ago when we watched Pretense. I need you to go back when Jack first met the Tolans. Jack is legitimately miffed at the fact that the Tolans won't share tech.
He is.
It's okay. It's okay to be frustrated. It's not okay to lose who you are. And I just, like I say, give permission to be frustrated at something like that. But I could be frustrated that I can't move into that land over there that is actually flowing with milk and honey that I need to go expand some stuff. But that's not for me. If I need to move in that land, then we go talk to those people. We negotiate. We do what we need to do on that level. We don't just go say, okay, get off now. We're coming in anyway. We can be better. So Jeff, we take this, all of those words, all of those high sounding words. Let's throw it up against our litmus test. Does this hold up a mirror to society?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Because this shows us exactly how we are.
Called Right on the Carpet by Tolan Lady.
Oh, absolutely. Does this give us hope that we can be better in the future? Yeah, I think so. Hey, if you stick to these high sounding words, if you go with this, there are friends out there that are going to help us and will be with us. You have regained our trust, she says. The Asgard and the Tolan both came to us. The Nox were about ready. They even called it the Nox were about ready to sever relations with us as well. No, we're keeping them as friends. It is hope that things can be better in the future. And finally, does it just teach us how to be better human beings to one another? Yeah, I think so.
I think it does. Don't take this stuff.
Yeah.
Like that alone.
And is this intentional? Is there an intentional aspect of this? Yeah.
Yeah. The point of the episode.
I mean, Jeff, I would be hard pressed to give this anything less than 7 full chevrons, all locked in.
As the episode was going, I was just like, it's all a question is how to package what's going on, because this is clearly the point. And even as I thought Jack was legitimately not doing cool stuff, that message was still there. It wasn't like he had to wait till the end for it. We were talking about it during the opening credits.
And it played it out all the way for us. You know what I love about this, though, Jeff, is this wasn't what we've gotten so often with with Stargate, where they present a topic and then they just never discuss it. They don't really come back up to it. They don't give you, no. They presented this topic in the cold open. They stayed with it through the entire show. They showed you both sides of it. They talked about it. They discussed it. They looked all the way around. Full Chev and Severons, everything locked in. Jeff, that is my rating. Mm-hmm. You, my friend, however, get to rank this episode in our 100% completely accurate and definitive ranking of season 3 of Stargate SG-1. Top 5 episodes. I'm going to go from there. I've got a feeling this is going to go high, maybe top 5. I don't know. We've got a pretty solid top 10, I think. But Jeff, the top 5 as it sits right now, Jolinar's Memories and the Devil You Know, 1 episode put in, sharing the number 1 spot. Forever and a Day coming in at number 2. That's the one with Charest. Fair Game is coming in at number 3. Pretense, episode we just saw a couple weeks ago, coming in at number 4. And Foothold, number 5. Jeff, where are you placing Shades of Grey?
I'm having a really tough time deciding if this cracks the top 5 or not. I really want it to, but I'm looking at that top 5 and struggling a lot.
I'm not going to tell you which way I would do it, but I'm telling you it's not a question for me.
Okay. For me, I've answered the question by going back and looking at some of my notes. And so by 1, I'm already questioning it. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing that's going to make this an unfair ranking. I don't think this episode can be truly appreciated until you watch it the second time.
Okay.
Because I think I can appreciate the journey it took me on and all the questions it posed and everything, but I think I was going to say the brilliance, but I'll withhold that and say, the approach to it, I think, isn't really appreciated until the second time you watch it and you know kind of what's happening. So I'm going to put an asterisk. I'm literally going to put an asterisk on the rating, and I'll revisit this when we record. I will watch this again, and I'll revisit this one. So today, right now, this is going to drop by 1 outside of the top 5 as the new number 6.
Hey, Jeff, mute me for just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff's an idiot, and this should absolutely be in the top. This should be like a top 3 episode just because of the enormity of what this episode is actually saying. It's so good. It's so good. I may not want to watch this episode every single time I go through the whole show, but what this episode means. Oh my God. Okay. Just
you had thoughts. You're like
predictions for where things might go with this in the future.
Okay. That's fair. So, that's fair.
Well, Jeff, that is going to do it for us here on Shades of Grey on this episode. Put a button on this one. Moving on to our next episode. Jeff, I gave you a clue. I'm enjoying giving you cryptic clues to these episodes these days. The next episode is titled New Ground. I told you this episode is also pretty much a Star Trek lift as well. People out there may or may not agree with me. I'm not really sure. We'll find out. But Jeff, you get a chance to make a guess for what you think this is going to be about. New Ground. What do you say? Without
the Star Trek thing, I would think New Ground is a continuation of a piece that was dropped in this episode of starting a new SGC off-world. They're going to go break new ground and try and establish a thing, but that's not a Star Trek episode. What is, and I can't remember what it was called, but it's the one where they took Worf's brother and they put him in the holodeck and they made it seem like they were walking to somewhere, right, to take them to their new ground. So there's going to be some race they run into is facing an extinction level event, but they're not going to leave. And so they find some kind of a deceptive way of moving the people to their new ground.
You are a good guesser, Jeff.
That I am.
Well, folks, that is going to do it for us here today on Stargate SG-1 for the first time. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us out there. Please don't forget, wherever you're watching this or listening to this, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave us a rating and review, and please, most importantly, share this show with somebody that you know that loves Stargate or, like my friend Jeff over there, needs to get into the gate for the first time. Well, with that, on behalf of my friend Jeff, my name's Brent, and we're going to get out of here.
Hey, Brent.
We'll see you guys next time. Yeah, Jeff, what's up?
I know you have thoughts on my ranking, but do you know how you can tell exactly how I felt about this episode?
How? He's cocking his head and raising his eyebrow. Oh, my God. For crying out loud.